of Owning a Cafe and Other Heroic Deeds by Beware the Tristero. Chapter 8. The Symbol of Peace. Waking up at 4:45, 50 minutes before his alarm, but it didn't really matter, Shouta sighed as he sat up, grabbed his hairbrush, and threw his locks into a bun on instinct. What Dobby had said last night still rang in his ears, and sure, he personally didn't understand or want friends himself, but wasn't that what most people his age should want? Then, getting up, he did his 5-minute kata, which was mostly stretching, but a damn good way to start the day. He grabbed his notepad and left a quick letter for the teen that he shoved under his bedroom door. From the snoring he could hear, the kid was still out cold. Then he returned to his room, threw on his running outfit, which consisted of black shorts, a black t-shirt, ancient yet serviceable sneakers, and his cell phone cradled in a bicep guard. He headed out for his run. At first, he thought about heading down to the beach, which was only 20 minutes or so away. He hadn't been there for a few years. But, thinking rationally, he still had food to assemble, and he needed to call a few stockists, too. He was also expecting a delivery, and it wouldn't do to miss it. Therefore, with a reserved sigh, his hands locking the cafe door behind him, he decided to lap the old gray buildings that dwarfed his establishment for a while. He told the snoozing lodger where the spare key was if there was an emergency, or he just wanted to go out. Strangely, even a place as dull as the apartment complexes looming overhead, with a few ratty trees and odd scatterings of mostly dead flower beds, that was something he could fix, wasn't it? It could appear almost nice in this early morning light. What wasn't so nice, however, was the group of drunken thugs he could see after 10 minutes of circling the complex, the staggering forms clearly having stumbled out of some sleazy bar not that long ago, and instead of heading towards the open lobby of one of the towers, they'd stopped to ogle him. Oh shit, who the fuck is that? You could smell the cheap booze and cigarette ash from 20 feet away. I don't know, but damn, he's kinda fine, ain't he? Wonderful. Hey there, cutie! One of the tall, broader, drunker, a very flattering man, called. Nice leg! Woo! Yeah, work that ass! He furthered, his forearms waving at him. Hey now! What's your hurry? Blinking, one of the 5 men materializing before him. Well, that was annoying. Shouta flung himself into a backflip to avoid being grabbed, his move earning him a drunk chuckle and a cheer from the other 4 as they approached. Flexible. The creep, tall, green-skinned, and leering, a forked tongue slithering from his scaly lips as he spoke, crooned. Boy, you must be tired, 'cause you've been running through my mind all morning. He grinned. Flattered as I am. He did pant. I don't want any trouble. He added, his eyes checking the movements of the other men. One was literally hog-headed with 4 arms, too. Another had bull features with hooved feet and a tail, whilst the last 3 triplets looked similar to the 2 quirk dickhead blocking his way. Goodney! The man, in a cheap 3-piece suit that was creased and stained, the tie not loose around his disheveled collar. Babe, where the man, I'm a nursery king, he grinned. You'll have no trouble if you come partying with us, he offered with a jaunty waggle of scale brows. No thanks, he stated. Now, if you'll excuse me. Whoa! Rolling his eyes, he didn't need his clerk to deal with them. Shouta flung the bastard who tried to grab him from behind into the smooth togger in front of him, and before they'd crashed into the ground, swept the legs out from under the other 3! As they crashed, oofed, and landed onto each other in a kind of drunken puppy pile, the cafe owner sighed, placed his right foot atop them to stop their bewildered forms from dizzyingly scurrying away, and called the cops. Attempted assault and public drunkenness should put them away for at least a year or 2, shouldn't it? 10 minutes later, the sound of a distant siren pricking his ears. The cops seem to be upping their game a bit. Good! The martial artist had been prepared to run through his statement, his eyes searching for CCTV cameras to back up his story when... Swoosh! Everything is alright because I... Oh? looking up from his phone, his brows lifting. Shouta had to tilt his head up quite anyway, as with all the choreography of someone who'd have probably intended it, All Might stood just a foot or two away from the groaning, wheezing, and whining drunkards he collected, the sun haloing around him.
Good citizen!
The blob boomed, the jaunty salute firing up from his temple.
I see that you have already apprehended the ne'er-do-wells. Ha 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 ha! My! They seem to be in quite the state now, don't they?
Yes, he replied slowly. Damn, the guy was tall.
So, can I go now?
He asked incredulously, his shoulders offering a shrug.
I just went out for a run.
He mused.
The police, but you're here now.
He returned, a glare play on the blonde's favorite catchphrase.
And there's a CCTV tower just over there that the police can access.
He stated whilst waving at it.
Yes, but do you need to see my credentials?
He asked with a shrug, the fingers of his left hand plucking a copy of his licenses. Because you never could be too careful these days. Some police officers he'd met could be a little overzealous. From his phone's bicep cradle, along with a business card.
I'm a fully licensed martial arts instructor and childminder, so I have authorization to use my quirk in the public interest.
He offered whilst handing the papers to the bewildered-looking symbol of peace.
My contact details are there if the police do need to speak with me, alright?
Peering up at the man, he clearly read the papers. The massive finger and thumb of his right hand were pinching the Noronaka Cafe card as he regarded it. Shouta snagged his photocopies because printer ink was expensive, resettled them, and stretched a little.
Well, thanks.
He offered because, well, that's what you were supposed to do.
Have a good day.
He added out of habit. He'd practiced it several times in the mirror over the years. It was something that his former employers always told him to work on. Before sidestepping him and resuming his run. He'd been out for 5 minutes longer than he would have liked. He'd have to sprint the rest of the way back. As 5:40 approached, he'd showered, dressed in his uniform, tied up his hair, and ordered a few things off eBay Co. GP, God bless America, while sending a few emails to his suppliers for more fruit, flour, rice, and noodles. A sale on vanilla bean paste? Should be illogical not to buy it at that price, especially since it had such a great sell-by date. Then he'd sneaked around the apartment. Bobby was still snoring. The poor kid clearly needed the rest. Shoved another note under the door and padded downstairs to throw his pre-made, pre-proved dough, once shaped, into the oven, pull the cakes he'd made yesterday out and swiftly cream-glazed, filled, and decorated them. Once done, another batch of scones, very popular, cheap to make, and quick to bake, hit a separate oven. The tamagoyaki was cooking, the 3 industrial rice cookers were steaming, and he'd added more coffee beans to the fantastic Italian drinks machine he'd been gifted by one of his former employees. And he probably had time to make himself a cup, and it'd be irrational not to eat something now, wouldn't it? Humming to himself, a self-soothing habit he'd been unable to break, Shouta scooped some of the medium grain rice that was ready up and into a few onigiri with premium pickled ginger, salmon slithers, and sesame seeds for additional crunch and flavor. He didn't bother with any nori, the customers could have it. Ate them and started up the percolator. And therein lay his first mistake of the day. Turning away from the machine that was going to caffeinate him, the eatery owner was prepared to see the Bakugo bear stood there. Katsuki and the rest of the children had all wanted All Might bento, their parents having promised to swing by and get them that morning. They were all made bar the tamagoyaki, which was cooling. However, the person waving at him through the wide door window was none other than the symbol of peace himself. The same symbol of peace who clearly couldn't read the goddamn opening times. Sighing, the man might have tracked him down for a reason concerning the paralytic, drunken idiots he'd floored. It was self-defense, he could prove it. Shouta rounded the service bar, checked the wall clock. 6:07. He opened at 7, damn it! And unlocked the door.
Can I help you?
He asked flatly.
Well, you see, your business card is so cute, and, well, I wanted to make sure that you had gotten here alright, and... What smells so good?
He should have just turned around and gone back into the kitchen, shouldn't he? Sucking in a breath to calm his ire, he reluctantly stood aside.
If you want anything to eat or drink, we're not open yet, but I can get you something that's almost ready. Blinking, then looking at his wristwatch, which was fancy and no doubt filled with all kinds of technological wizardry, the towering blonde, who'd have to enter his cafe by sidestepping, should he get the door widened? Rubbed the back of his neck sheepishly. Alright,
he tried.
Perhaps I could go back late. Not unless you want to be mugged by my morning rush hour.
He shrugged.
So what can I get you?
He asked whilst walking away, his body slipping back around his station, the till humming to life as he woke it up.
I have scones, onigiri, muffins, miso, and the tamagoyaki should be ready by now.
He listed.
Tea, coffee, homemade cordial spiked lemonade.
He added whilst pointing at the blackboard where everything had been presented in chalked white paint.
Have a think and I'll be back.
He continued whilst re-entering the kitchen. As he thought, the omelets had finished cooking, the bento he'd lined up were stood ready, and the muffins, blueberry, strawberry, and banana, had just finished baking too. Whipping them out of the oven. They smell great! He whisked them back into service area to cool, as the scent would entice the customers, especially now that the coffee was ready to pour. Idly, he wondered if he'd have time to draw cute, silly faces on them. He had novelty, edible bunny ears somewhere, but lamented that they'd need time to cool. It was something he could try another day.
No, Aizawa-san, have you made those? Well, the muffin fairy wasn't going to show up, so I figured I might as well.
He snorted.
They're too hot to eat right now.
He warned over his shoulder when the hulking man, God bless his dull ceilings, crept towards them, that famous smile of his spreading wider.
Sit down over there and tell me what I can get you.
He added,
Well, one of those lemonades sounds delightful, with mint, if you haven't. Of course I have.
He replied, his brow cocked. He's not even opened yet, so how could he have run out? God, he hated logical questions.
Have food. A portion of salmon onigiri, with the cool, of course. Could I have 2 of each, please?
It was a good job he'd made a more muffin mix, wasn't it?
Sure,
he stated.
I'll go get your onigiri.
He told him before, his glare narrowing.
Don't touch them. Before I get back. Got it? Yes, I will. I promise.
Nodding, he somehow managed not to roll his eyes before returning to the kitchen. Wasn't it supposed to be pro-sparse area? Miski and her son would probably be coming by soon. He'd be sure to watch the CCTV later when the kid's mind exploded. He was almost as fanatical about Alma as Izuku was. And when 6:30 arrived, the hulking blonde, who'd had to sit at one of the tables and couldn't squeeze in a booth, and had 5 glasses of lemonade, 10 onigiri, and 6 muffins. Well, that was another 3,000 yen in the till, wasn't it?
Aizawa-san!
The powerhouse and up a kind.
Are you certain I couldn't hire you for private function? Then who would run my cafe?
He sighed. God, what an irrational proposition.
I have to prepare everything fresh the night before or in the morning, and the only day I'm closed is Sunday. Then on Sunday is the day I'll be taking as a break whilst running self-defense classes on the storefront. He kept going whilst the hero enjoyed the last of his muffins. He kept him buying any more. His other customers deserve some too. Honestly, you're a wealthy man, aren't you? Why not send up for... But these are the best muffins I've ever had!
The other veritably yelled. Dobby wouldn't be pleased. He told the teen the night before that he didn't need to come down until 7 unless he wanted to.
And I lived in America for 3 years. They made these things. They're British, actually.
He quipped after another mouthful of coffee. Damn, that was good. How anyone could sully such a dark, tangy, bitter taste with sugar and lactose, he truly didn't know.
I see.
The other sighed dejectedly, his massive shoulders slumping. Jumping. Was this how it felt to kick a puppy? Hey, All Might moped just like Izuku did too. Shouta checked the work schedule he kept on the service bar and looked over his hours.
If you like, I can bake you a dozen or 2 on Sunday morning.
He heard himself saying.
My first self-defense class is at 10, so you could come by and pick them up at 8 if you'd like. Would that be... Whoa!
Yelping, the updraft of the other's movements nearly dislodging his cap, the cafe owner scowled up at the lummox, staring at him as though he'd just self-willed hunger.
Oh, Aizawa-san! Aizawa-sama, I'd be so grateful, truly! Instead of being grateful, you could try not to make a mess of my cafe.
he replied whilst looking around to check that the other speed hadn't disturbed anything important.
Sorry.
All Might stated, his hands raised in surrender.
I only wish to give you my thanks. Your yen will do just fine.
He returned.
Now, if you don't want to get mobbed, I suggest...
Stop eating, you damn brat! Oh my god!
Good morning, Katsuki.
He said, his eyes looking to the little bell that probably wouldn't survive the week at this rate, dispassionately, before slanting his gaze from the starstruck child to the, dear God, posing hero, and then to the stupefied elder back ago, her mouth hanging open. Oh my god! The boy gasped reverently.
Hello there, Katsuki Shonen!
The bronzed warrior greeted, his white tank top cover just puffing proudly.
How does this pleasant morning find you? And is this your older sister?
Rolling his eyes and finding the power not to facepalm from somewhere. Shouta could feel his skin crawling as Mitsuki squealed and her child demanded that she shut up more! You're embarrassing me!
I'll go get your bed though.
He murmured whilst the three continued to animatedly talk about whatever. What the fuck is he doing here? Blinking, his eyes locked on Dobby's bewildered face. The longer-haired man shook his head as the teen shuffled away from the door.
It's been a morning,
he admitted through off.
Have you eaten?
No. The flame quirk user whispered harshly. Why is he here?
I was tired this morning.
You were what? The 16-year-old balked, his hands grabbing at him and turning him around.
Hey, whoa, easy.
He laughed.
I took care of them. They didn't touch me, alright?
He soothed his smile warm as he carefully clasped the slightly shorter male's shoulders.
Not that I don't appreciate the concern,
he furthered when the other huffed and pulled away.
But since I floored them all, they needed to be picked up, and he answered the call, even though I rang the police.
He shrugged his eyes, looking back into the cafe through the circular viewing window.
If I didn't stop him, he was going to eat everything in sight.
He grumped.
You okay?
Just not a fan is all, the other replied sullenly. Nodding, he led the teen to the back bench where his breakfast was set up.
Hope it fucking off, son.
He told him.
Just enjoy breakfast. Oh, and some packages came for you,
he said whilst thumbing at the back wall where 2 parcels were stacked atop some of the bigger boxes of stock he'd ordered.
Huh? Eat first.
He started before walking to the glass-fronted chiller, his hands grabbing all of the bento, because he may as well, and making his way back into the blessedly quieter cafe, where the 3 were still yucking it up. Katsuki was sat on the man's curled bicep, while Mitsuki took photographs on her phone. But why, though?
Bakugo-san, what would you like this morning?
Aizawa-san, you didn't tell me that you were friends with All Might! Giving the woman what he hoped wasn't a completely withering look. Why would she ever think such a ridiculous thing? Shouta managed up.
We're not.
Before placing her child's bento on the counter and ringing it up.
Why, I met her dear Café Owner for the first time just this very morning!
The blonde grinned before with a blink he narrowed his eyes at the traditional lunchbox, his brows lifting.
Aizawa-san, I didn't see bento on the menu.
They're special! The 6-year-old cut in excitedly, his tiny hands rummaging around for a pen. Sir, would you start right, please? Wow, the kid did have settings other than grumpy, sullen, and rude. Good to know.
Start it!
The hero said, and that's when Jonah realized his second big mistake of the day. Fuck! If the pro hero saw his likeness inside the innocuous black paw printed box, then he was screwed.
Let's not... but of course, my boy!
Double think!
You wouldn't mind me having a peek first, eh? Oh my!
The behemoth gasped, the neon blue of his eyes flashing. He knew he shouldn't have made one for Izuku. He couldn't afford to be sued by anyone, let alone a guy with one of the best legal teams in this country.
This is amazing!
Blinking, the internal calculations he'd been running in the back of his mind, bankruptcy would be a mercy, throwing up one red flag after another. Shouta nearly balked when the blonde man was suddenly in his face!
You like this too? They're something the children like,
he said carefully.
Oh no, you're not going to sue me for using your likeness, are you? What?
The other chortled.
Heavens no!
He furthered before carefully reclosing the lid.
Are they all the same?
No! Katsuki helpfully supplied. Thanks, kid. Aizawa-san makes a different one for all of us, he preened before with the biggest smile we ever seen on the boy's face. He said, but mine is always the best. Snorting, but not bothering to correct him, the boy wouldn't like being shown up in front of his idol. The eatery owner brought the others up for the man to view.
If you're going to sign his, then please sign the others,
he asked with a little bow.
This will probably make their month, or something.